Let's answer all of you guys' questions. I asked you guys on IG and you guys have given me quite a few questions, so let's get into it. What is something that I couldn't live without for the dogs? What couldn't I live without? Do you know what? I'm always going to say the multi-way lead by Twiggy Tags. The multi-way lead is one of the best things I've ever purchased, and when I say I love it, I've got about 5 of them. They come in a range of patterns and we definitely love them a lot, and you can also use BBB here as well if you would like to get a little bit of a discount off them. We've been given a training scenario, so somebody's got a reactive golden retriever and don't know what to do, she's getting worse. Now the first thing I'd always recommend is working with a trainer, because often there's loads of little things that we don't realise we're doing wrong. Then I'd be looking at multiple things. So number one is, why is she reactive? What is she reacting to? What are the triggers? And then I'd be looking at the bucket theory. Now the bucket theory is one of the most important things that you can understand about your dog. If your dog is reacting every time they go out, they're in a constant state of stress and their head is very, very full. If their head's really full, they're never going to be able to get better because their brain is just going. A bit like us when we're really overstimulated. If you keep going, you're eventually going to crash out and you're going to react, if you will. So you need to make sure you're looking at your dog's bucket theory. You need to be looking at triggers, working it out. And honestly, if you feel like you're not getting anywhere, I'd work it with a really good trainer. Would I ever breed again in the future? So if you guys are new to me, I've actually had a litter of kittens and I've had a litter of puppies. Now, to be honest with you, I'm never going to say never. I might do a long time away in the future if I've got kids or something and I want the kids to still experience raising puppies. But raising puppies is not easy and you shouldn't just do it for the fun of it. I did it with Minnie because I had a list of people who wanted puppies from her. I did it for kittens because my cat got caught. It was a whole thing. But both times I was prepared and I knew what I'm doing with it. It's quite a very, very taxing thing to do, and there's no need to bring more kittens and puppies into the world unless you've got homes for them. So yes, maybe I'm never going to say never, but not anytime soon. Not in any time that you guys will probably see. What are my top 3 favourite books? Oh, so this is a really hard one. I wouldn't say I really have any favourite books. At the minute, I am reading When Crickets Cry, and I'm also reading Bridgerton, the 3rd one. And I'm also reading The Wicked and Me. I have quite a wide genre, so I wouldn't say I don't think I have any favourites. Ones that got 5 stars from me in the last few years, obviously Akatar, Fourth Wing, all of those kind of books. I always really enjoy Leslie Peirce books from when I was younger. I don't know why, but I don't think I have any favourites. If you ask me for a favourite book, I don't think I'd give you one. Maybe Black Beauty was a classic that I loved growing up, but yeah, I don't think I have any stationary set favourites. Is there any animals you would love to have in the future that you haven't had before? I'd really like ferrets and goats. If we're looking at my farm life, so obviously I've got the horses, I would love to have a donkey or a goat with my horses. I'd love that. I'd love a little small holding. I would thrive having a little small holding. In terms of indoors, I've had most small animals. I would love ferrets. I had a lot of rats growing up, and ferrets are kind of a bit like a massive rat, if you like. I've looked after a lot of people's ferrets, looked after a lot of them in different places. They're lush. I probably won't ever have one, but I would like one. Opinions on billy breeds, owning one, the ban, fulfillment, etc. I have no issue with anyone having a billy breed. Do I think the ban is fair? Not really. I think it's more the owners not understanding dogs. Because yes, they are a big, powerful dog with a big, powerful bite, and if you've got a stupid owner behind it, yes, they can do loads of damage. Most of the dogs are lovely. Same as any dog, to be honest. So do I think the ban's fair? Nah. They're lovely dogs. I've met some. I personally don't really like billy breeds for me. I really prefer my gun dog type dogs. However, I've met some lovely ones. They're really lovely. I have not a single issue with them. In terms of fulfillment for them, I've never really worked with them. So honestly, I'm not the right person to ask. I mean, I know they can enjoy balls and tug work and that kind of thing. And I know a lot of people are struggling because their dogs cannot play with them anymore because of the muzzle. So maybe looking into things like that. I think they're quite a versatile breed. I know they're supposed to be really big friendly giants. Skincare and makeup that I'm using, because apparently I'm looking pretty glowy. Now, to be honest with you, I've done a full makeup and skincare tutorial on my TikTok, so go have a look there for all the products. But my biggest secret at the minute is I'm no longer miserably unhappy, to be honest with you. As much as I would like to say it is all makeup and everything like that, a lot of it is just inside. And I'm no longer miserable. So that's probably helping. What is your top 3 dog harness collar accessory brands and why? Number 1, I'm going to talk about Twiggy Tags. I absolutely adore Twiggy Tags. We do rep for Twiggy Tags. Again, you can use BBB here if you would like to get 10% off. But they're safety tested. They have really lovely patterns. My dogs pretty much live in it non-stop. Under there, I'm then going to say use Track and Trail. So again, a Track and Trail, you can use this here and get a discount on them, but they are the place to go for all your gun dog supplies. They also stock Roughwear, and Roughwear is a really, really great harness company. And then I'm actually going to go a little bit rogue, and I'm going to say Rough and Tumble as my third one. So Rough and Tumble, again, you can use this here, but that's who I use for my slip leads mainly. They have really, really gorgeous, like posh looking slip leads, which I really enjoy to use when I want them to look nice. What made me choose the breeds of dogs I have, and what are the pros and cons of them? So if you didn't know, I've got 2 Spaniels and I've got a Labrador. So Spaniels, what are the pros and cons of them, and why did I get a Spaniel? I was just kind of thrust into the Spaniel life. So when I was at uni, the guy I was with had a Spaniel and I helped raise it, and that was my first Spaniel. When I graduated uni, I got a Springer Spaniel because he needed a home. He was on rescue, he was on pre-loved. Just kind of fell into him. I was like, oh yeah, he needs a home, I'll take him. And then Minnie, I rehomed. Again, she was just kind of thrust into my lap. And then obviously Minnie had Joey, and that's kind of where all my Spaniels have come from. Now Spaniels are one of those where they say they die half trained. Like they're not they're not the easiest of dogs. They are. They're really good dogs if you get them right. If you get them wrong, they are a bloody nightmare. So they are incredibly clever, but also incredibly dumb. They're incredibly clingy, you know, and they're really smart, and they love to work, and they do need a job. They need fulfillment. They are obviously smaller, so they're a little bit easier than a lot of other breeds. As you can see right now, he's showing how he's not using his brain. And you have different types of Spaniels as well. So Joey is half working, half show, whereas Minnie is full show. So Joey's got much higher drive than Minnie, but they definitely require a lot of training, a lot of work. I'm not going to pretend he's not hard work, because he is such hard work, aren't you, mate? And then Labrador. So I always wanted a Labrador. Ada is my black lab. Ada! Oh, you can't. She's on the sofa here. Ada is my black lab. She is 5 years old, and she is the love of my life. I've got her tattooed on me, no offence, mate. I always wanted a Labrador, so I did my dissertation on Labradors at uni. So at uni I did, public perception of hereditary diseases in Labradors. That was my dissertation, was obsessed with Labradors. And the minute I was ready to get a puppy, it was always going to be a Labrador, and it was always going to be a black lab. And I found a litter of gun dogs 4.5 hour drive away from me, and it was during COVID. And I was like, that's the one. And then I named her before I even met her. Went and met her at 5 weeks old, picked her up at 9 weeks old, and it was always going to be Ada. I was always wanted her. She was always going to be it for me, and I will never not have a Labrador. Will I ever have a black lab again? I don't know, because I spayed Ada, so obviously I can't get a baby Ada. But I think long term I'll probably end up with a yellow or a red lab. But I will not be getting another dog for a long time. But in terms of pros and cons to Labradors, pros is they're incredibly loyal, they're incredibly goofy, they're pretty versatile because you can do scent work with them, you can do toy work, you can do gun dog work, you can do agility with them. They're very, very versatile. Cons is they're big, their tails are annoying. Ada lost her tail from an amputation because she wagged it too hard. Ada is reactive, but she's not reactive in a way that's a problem. It's just she doesn't like dogs coming into her space. You know, they are big, silly idiots. Again, they need a lot of work. If you get a Labrador wrong, they are an absolute pain in the arse. I would say Labradors are born half trained. They're a lot easier than Spaniels. However, they are big and they're goofy, and in adolescence, they're such hard work. And especially working ones, people get them not realising how to fulfill them, and they end up with absolute idiots who tear their house apart. So really, stay with any dog though, is just do your research and fulfill them and they'll be fine. What is my proudest moment? What's my proudest moment? Do you know what? I think my proudest moment was taking Ada to crafts. So again, Ada is my dog reactive dog. She's only reactive to dogs who are really rude coming into her space. I need to stress that. Like, she's really not a problem. And she's also really nice. Like, she's not actually nasty in any shape or form. It's just noise. But my proudest moment by far was getting her to a point in her training journey where I could take her to crafts. And I was walking around crafts with thousands and thousands and thousands of dogs, and she was so impeccably well behaved, and everyone complimented her on how well behaved she was. And since then, she's been to crafts again. She's gone to dog fest. You know, she's done loads of things. She's been a stooge dog for me at work. So I used to do training classes, and she was a stooge for that. You know, my biggest, proudest thing is how well Ada has improved in life, because she's incredible. And our last question is, can you help me to teach my dog to settle, and also how to stop nipping for attention? So I'm presuming this is a puppy, I would have liked to think. Nipping for attention, so you really need to look about why they're doing it. Are they doing it for play? Are they doing it because they just want interaction? For me, if puppy biting, the minute my puppy starts biting, I get up and I walk away and I stop interacting with them. My puppies learn pretty quickly that biting means end of attention, end of anything. I don't wrestle with them at that point. I wrestle now with them, but when they're at that stage, puppy biting, and if you've got a crate, if you've got a pen, I put them away for a timeout, let them calm down. Normally, a bitey puppy is a tired puppy, or if they are biting for attention, it's because they've learnt it works. So try to not scream, try to not push them away, try to not screech, just get up and walk away. If they're going for your ankles, step out of their way so they can't reach you. And in terms of teaching them to settle, crate training is your best friend, as is place training. I've got videos on both these things on my TikTok. Both are incredibly helpful to teach your puppy or your dog. And I couldn't live without each of those commands for my dogs. You know, they're so incredibly helpful. Tether training. I mean, there's loads and loads of different things you can do for settling, but the best thing to do is teach them to sit down and go to sleep. My also biggest tip is do not entertain your dog 24 hours a day. Your dog does not need to be doing something all the time. It should be sleeping and snoozing. But yeah, hopefully that's answered a few of you guys' questions. If you have any more, please put them in the comments and I can always do a part 2. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all that jazz, because we are trying to push our YouTube career a little bit. So if you could all help me, that would be really great. Thanks guys, see you later.